let's take a look at some definitions. Definitions of a competent person, I think we've talked about already, but let's just go over it one more time. It means one who is capable of identifying existing and predictable hazards in the surrounding or working conditions which are unsanitary, hazardous, or dangerous to employees, and who has the authorization to take prompt corrective measures to eliminate them. So this means that this person is going to have included in his definition the one that's below it, which is a qualified person. And it also means that that person must be capable of identifying existing predictable hazards of the surrounding or working conditions in the area that he works. Obviously, if you're working in an area where we're pouring concrete, that doesn't make you a competent person for steel erection necessarily. Now, a qualified person is one who, possession of a recognized degree, certificate of professional standing, and who by extensive knowledge, training, and experience has successfully demonstrated their ability to solve or resolve problems relating to the subject matter and the work of the project. So again, we're talking about somebody with specialized knowledge who's qualified. Much like when you take a professional engineer, even though he's a professional engineer, he can only practice in that area of which he has expertise. Authorized person, on the other hand, means a person approved or assigned by the employer to perform a specific type of duty or duties, or at a specific location or locations at the job site. For instance, an authorized person could be one who erects scaffolding and a certain specific kind of scaffolding. There's a very different person who should be assigned and who is trained to erect and dismantle scaffolding than the person who is going to just use the scaffold. So that authorized person has this special knowledge. Okay, definitions of duties under OSHA, and this is under what is commonly called the General Duty Clause. It's also under the Act, under 654. If you look at it, look it up, and it says that each employer shall furnish to each of his employees employment and a place of employment which are free from recognized hazards and that are causing or likely to cause death or serious physical harm to his employees. Okay, that is the overall General Duty Clause, as it's called. If, in fact, you violate that section and there isn't something specifically within the OSHA requirements that tell you exactly what to do, OSHA will cite this particular area. And if there is something that's specific, that area will be cited. There's also another section in here which states that each employee shall comply with the occupational safety and health standards and rules, regulations, and orders issued pursuant to the Act that are applicable to his own actions and conduct. So an employee, if he refuses to do what's right, can be in trouble himself. Definitions under ANSI. ANSI stands for the American National Safety, let me back up, it's spelled wrong here. We've got ANSI and A.S.S.E. ANSI is the American National Standards Institute. The slash is then the American Society of Safety Engineers, who are the people who publish all the A10 standards, which are the standards that relate to construction. A1033 is the one on multi-employer job sites. And it talks about a hazard analysis, a process used to assess risk, and the results of a hazard analysis are the identification of those unacceptable risks and the selections of the means of eliminating or controlling them. Now that's a very key thing because that's going to go through just about everything that takes place on a job site. is doing a hazard analysis, identifying the risks, and selecting a means and methods for controlling them. Now, just as a sideline to this, I think, and it could be the subject of a totally different seminar, but I think it needs to be mentioned that there are common methods to estimate the severity potential. There's catastrophic severity, there's serious, there's moderate, and there are minor. Each one of those has a definition. It comes very close to what the word means. Then, there's common methods to estimate their probability, which is very likely to occur, likely to occur, possible to occur, unlikely to occur, and almost impossible to occur. Those are things that you take into consideration when you do your hazard analysis. Then there are some of the other considerations that might be helpful to note here would be the hazard is in plain view, the speed of the machine or the speed of the hazardous motion. You need to get a handle on that. The stopping distance, if you're talking about a swing load on a crane or a vehicle. The manual activation, it can be the hold up or run up or trip buttons that are there. And then the ability to escape, whether you have an experienced operator, and the distance from the hazard. Those are all some of the things you might want to consider. Now let's take a look at a licensed professional, and we're almost out of all these definitions and get into the meat of the thing, but I think it was necessary to have these in the back of your mind as we take a look at it. And that's one whose services are required for a specific action by statute, such as an engineer, safety professional, or industrial hygienist. Let's take a look at an engineer, for instance. If you're going to choose an anchorage point, as an example, for any kind of fall protection system, and you need to know that it has 5,000 pounds, then you need to have a professional engineer stamp that drawing and or approve that place for that anchorage to take place. Now, a lot of people don't quite understand why that's true. Let me just give you a quick example. When a building's completely built, the anchorage points are all noted on the drawings. But when a building is in construction or demolition, that particular beam or member may be supported only partially, or it may be not supported at all, in which case, obviously, although the structural member may have the inherent strength to support 5,000 pounds, since it isn't connected to something that can, you could in fact pull the whole structure over. So that's why that is a necessary requirement.